that countdown messes me up, but I got it good this time. What's up, historians? Welcome back to season 3 of Historically Haunted VODCAST right here on Facebook. I'm your host, Adam the Historian Ghost Hunter. Thank you to our sponsor of the year, Donnie Green, the truck driver from Pet Cemetery, and his trucking company, Bauer Green Logistics, as well as John Green Logistics Company, too. Our sponsor of the week is my booking company, Historically Haunted Booking LLC. Donnie's my first client. I got the owner of the truck. It's been refurbished, and I got a long list of clients. You guys want to hit me up on that, check it out. So real quick, oops, my alarm's going off. That's awesome. I swear I'm better than this. I had her. I got edit. Okay. I have Beatrice. I'm gonna cut her name up. Beatrice BOEPPLE. I know I said that wrong, but she's best known as her iconic role as Amanda Kruger, the mother to Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. Watched a couple nights ago again. A couple Canadian films. She starred in a Matinee in 1989. She also worked with Johnny Depp, 21 Deves, and Richard Dreyfuss. After a long break from the industry, though, she's to raise a family life going on. She's back on the senses. She's going to be doing a lot of meet and greets, conventions. Known for authoring a fan favorite novel before Elm Street. His death, of course, in the movies. And she the Bees, BEA apostrophe column in New England's new horror magazine of Let's Bring on Mama. 2, 1. Hello, Beatrice.
Yeah, and look at the face. That's me. Yeah, see the glove?
That's available.
You step into this van.
If you go there in Portland, they have a 9-foot tall, the Crookston Bigfoot statue. You can take a picture of it. It's like 9 feet tall stuff. Pretty if you're into that stuff. So I want to get a little bit personal, Beatrice. What got you into this stuff? Like, what got you the role? And more importantly, like, what got you into horror? Like, what got you to say, I'm going to try out for fucking Freddy Krueger's mom?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I had I'd been, acting in Canada for a long time. By that point, I had done all kinds of TV and film. I worked with Katharine Hepburn. I worked with like a lot of amazing people. And I, my background was theater, which it's the same. I mean, most of us are. Robert Englund was classically trained as well, but I had been doing, stage as well as film, as well as TV. I had just come off of starring in those 2 Canadian films back to back. But I moved to Los Angeles. I had been working out of Vancouver, Canada, because that's where I went to university. And, the Vancouver was known as Hollywood North at the time. Everything filmed up there. But when I moved to LA, it's just a completely different kind of acting scene, or at least it was back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, and it was still very much cookie cutter town. Like whatever you do, that's what you do. Like if you're a film actor, you're a film actor. If you're a TV actor, you're a TV actor. You never would cross the boundaries, which now they do all the time, but back then you didn't. And also they like to just put you in a category so they can file you under whatever. And because the first thing I did when I got to Los Angeles was Nightmare on Elm Street, immediately all they offered me was horror films. And back at that time, it was not my genre. I was not thrilled to do horror. And I mean, I'd be a lot more famous and a lot richer if I had taken those roles, but the scripts were awful. Like I'm not going to name any names, and they're not any of the big films that are around. But in case there's somebody's cult favorite, I'm not going to mention any. But they were really, really bad, the ones that they were offering me. And I just, I think I was too fresh off the theater boat to, and unfortunately, back in the 80s, as cool and fun as horror film was, it really was seen as the bottom of the barrel. A lot of the 80s horror film guys will tell you horror film was kind of neck and neck with porn. It wasn't respectable. And so I left it. That's when I chose to leave, actually. So for me, Elm Street was the end of my acting career of all things. And it's just so funny that that's what I'm now best known for. But that was the kind of the last thing I did. And then I decided to walk away from it and take this long sabbatical. I ended up moving to Taiwan, and then I moved to India. I lived in ashram for 2 years. It's a long, long story, but it's come back into my life. It kind of never left. And after all that, I found that, horror fans are like the best fans on the planet. They are loyal. They love what they love. They're passionate. Just a great bunch of people. And horror filmmakers are, super creative and out there and just fun. And I don't know. I've really learned to appreciate and love it. And I've gotten more and more involved, as you can see. But most of my love for it, really came from the fans, because I started to interact with fans, and I was always curious, like, when fans would say, "Oh my God, you have no idea, what a huge impact and what a big part of my childhood this was." And I was thinking, ew, no offense to myself, but like, why, I, I had a lot of trauma in my childhood. But for me, and I think people go one of two ways, when you have a lot of trauma in your own life, or you're bullied, or, just whatever it is, you either draw towards the happy fantasy to escape to, or you just dive even deeper into, horror. I think is such a cathartic medium for people, because, if your outside world is kind of horrific in one way or another, you can escape through a horror film, because it's fake. Elm Street in particular, there's always some level of humor in it. He always is defeated by the end. If the final girls, as long as they can just pull their courage together, they can defeat him. And it's kind of a strong, powerful message. And and I learned more and more of what, in a lot of ways, a positive thing it is. Like, it wasn't just this dreadful thing that I was told, was beneath me. And I've just gotten right into it, hook, line, and
Nicely
sinker.
put. I mean, it's almost like you're, I'm not, and obviously but it's almost like you're reading a project, because you literally, I never heard someone word it the way you did about everything. Because I like heavy metal, I like horror movies, I
Right.
like the redheaded stepchild of things, but at the same time, those are those diehards, and people don't line up and go, country. They go metal. In horror movies, people don't dress up as Forrest Gump to go meet Tom Hanks, but at conventions, man, they'll dress up like a guy from Shawshank Redemption to go meet him, because
Right.
horror people are passionate, I think.
Yeah, very, very.
And it's like you say, it's more than just, hey, let's watch a movie. It's like, we live or die by horror movies. Like, the new Exorcist is coming out next month. Holy shit, let's go. Like, what is
Right.
Rob Zombie up to? Like, oh, look at
Right.
this, my sponsor, Donnie Green, the truck driver from Pet Cemetery that killed Gage,
Ooh, boy.
fellow actress, fellow in the acting field. That's Freddy Krueger's mom. So both you guys are fan favorites, I guess. That's really cool. So yeah, like you said, back in the 80s, I feel like it was almost like porn. There's always boobs in it. There's always smoking weed. There's
Yeah.
always like the typical Jason Voorhees campsite. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And it did not really harness a lot of respect. But as you could tell, you've had a following, girl. You've had people, they know you as Freddie's mom. You've done a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And you're not
And
to
yet
be
that's what
boxed in, but
yeah, but that's what people want. That's what people, it always comes back to Freddie's mom. And I mean, you think about it, like, it's crazy. Like, Freddy Krueger, everybody in the world, literally everybody in the world knows who he is, whether they ever watched horror or not. Kids in Africa, kids in India, like, if you see that red and green sweater on the claw, they, oh, Freddy, they know who it is.
He's the Michael Jordan of movies or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, everybody, he's the Hulk Hogan or whatever. It's like everybody knows him. Yeah.
Yeah, whether they hate horror or not, everybody knows who he is. I mean, he's iconic. And it's interesting too. I started to do, like, I started to videotape clips when during COVID. I don't watch a lot of TV. I just don't really have time. Just too much to do. But during COVID,
Okay.
of course, we all start binge watching. And what is that called? Yeah, binging, right?
Yeah, you got it, girl.
Yeah.
Binge watching, yeah.
Yeah, and I was watching all kinds of TV shows, and it was crazy because so many different shows, I would suddenly notice, like, one of the characters would just mention something about, "Oh my God, it's like a Nightmare on Elm Street," or "Hey, stop being so creepy like Freddy Krueger," or whatever. Like, he's
Yeah.
what's the word? He's not only iconic, he's part of our. Come on, historians, what's the word?
He's like, well, he's like, I don't know, he's a figurehead, I guess. He's also just, he's like the
Like,
staple. When you think of 80s horror, there's Freddy, Jason, and Leatherface. Those are the big three, the Mount Rushmore of horror, right?
right, exactly.
I
And
mean,
that he's just become part of conversation. Like, it's a lexicon. Is that the right word?
oh yes, yes, well, yes,
Am I
like
saying,
yes,
like,
yes.
or
I
whatever?
mean,
That it's just part of
critical. I
speech. Like, you
mean,
just, So I like, that's crazy. And I'm his mom.
I'll say you
You know,
gave birth to a legend, girl.
yeah, that's crazy.
Everybody knows 1,
1,
2,
2,
ready.
Freddy's coming for you.
These are
Well,
real metal ones.
oh,
My buddy welded them for me.
you just hold
It's
on
not
then.
plastic fake crap. This is real. It's real historians. Look, middle finger.
I have
Oh, you got
several.
one too.
There's my
Tetanus
other
shot
one, but
time.
look at this one. Mine is better.
Oh, high five me. Oh, no, sick. Oh, you got the, yeah. See, I'm missing clips. Go, high five. High five.
Look at this. But look at them.
Oh, look at that. Oh, you got it all.
Yeah.
But
These are really beautiful.
real quick, George DaCosta just bought your book.
Yay! Good
He's
job,
a fan
George.
for life. Yeah, George will fall. George is good people. He saw Annabelle the doll. You know Annabelle? You heard of Annabelle?
Yeah.
The doll? Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's checking the nice claws at him. Thank you, Linda from Seattle.
Yeah. These are such good back scratches. No, they really are. Like, if you get but
yeah. They love your background. People saying, I love her background. So this is what a great guest. I love it right here. I was in a horror course, the collage, the Freddy collage is somebody. Oh, look at that.
Wait, what did you say? Freddy was somebody. I missed the end of it.
Freddy was somebody we did study about his influences in the horror film.
Very cool. Yeah.
Cat,
Isn't that
she's
cool?
great. Yeah. Let's see.
Well, they should all get my book. Wait, here.
You know Darren Buss? He's a new guy to the thing. BUSS. He says the problem about Hollywood is they haven't come out with new original material. What do you think about the remake of Freddy? Have you seen it? Do you think? I mean, I don't. I like the original. I like Robert, dude. I like his sense of humor and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is definitely room for somebody to do a new one. Robert, I just saw him last week. Was it last weekend or the weekend before? At Terracon, and
great hair.
he does not. He's really. I can't say he's 100% done. There's still a possibility. But it's leaning more towards the possibility that he won't do another one. I think honestly, I think something else. I think there might be one more something, but I think the character Freddy. I mean, he's such an iconic character, and unlike the others, I mean, he talks. He has a sense of humor, and certainly, I would say 80% of Freddy Krueger is Robert Englund. Like, it's who we love, what he brought to it, and because he did all 8 movies, we are just so used to it being him that it's just hard to kind of move around it. But especially after he goes, this guy that can come through your dreams and terrorize you through your own fears, and has that wicked sense of humor that he has, and whatever. I don't know. I think there's room for it to be redone or something. However, my book, which is the prequel, a number of people have already talked about doing making that into a film. So
where can people get that? Real quick, plug it.
Yeah. So either come see me at shows. That's
I
sign. Or else you can order it online at my store, which is just that name right there, Beatrice BOEPPLE, and just add a .com. To that, and they are still. This is the 3rd printing, and I think, I don't know if I'll keep printing. I was originally going to do it very limited, so we'll see. There are not that many left, but I have enough to last me through till next year, because I want to be able to bring them to some more conventions.
Yeah, I got to meet you. I got to get an autograph, a selfie, a personalized autograph.
And I go in costume, which is really hot. And I dress up.
I'm gonna be like, I'm the guy that drove you nuts on the podcast. There she is. But you do have those available for purchase, so some like that I saw, right?
Well, not really this one. Well, we do have, Oh, does anyone here work with NECA Toys? Yeah. I've been speaking with them, and we hope they might,
yeah.
Because everyone has the Freddy's. A lot of fans are big collectors, and the collectors that have places like this all decked out, and they do these dioramas with Freddy. They need Amanda Kruger, and it'd be really cool. Not a doll, action figure, because either she can have the claws coming out, or she can be holding baby Freddy. it would be a really cool item to add. So I'm trying to get them to do that.
We got about 16 people right now watching. Hey, everybody, I got to ask you some great questions. Before I do, and I want to touch base on this, and I heard this is true. It's loosely based on a true story, and that's what someone says here. Because people were dying in their sleep. They'd go to bed, they'd wake up like young men with no medical issues, and they'd wake up with like scars on them, and they'd be
Yeah.
dead, or they wouldn't wake up, rather, right?
Right. Yeah, it was an article in a paper about this boy, in particular, this boy in India, I believe. That's what Wes Craven had read, and it really, stuck with him, and he was very, he was very interested by that and drawn in, and he thought that was pretty freaky and scary, which it is. It's such a great concept,
I
and
want.
I
Oh,
love
go ahead.
that. I love that. Like I'm a yoga teacher too, and
Yes.
I told you I lived in India for 2 years, and when I came back from the ashram, it's so much about inner inner self and learning to find your inner light and become the best person you can be, and all about goodness, and I was like, okay, so there's this side that's all kind of spiritual and holy, and then there's this side that's like, oh, murder, kill, blood, gore. And I maybe it's in my search to try to find, a common ground between it, but Freddy Krueger, at least, Elm Street, at least, to me, there is kind of not that certainly they're not making these movies to give any kind of spiritual message. I mean, believe me, I know that's not the case at all. However, I think one of the things that did draw people was the heroines, the final girls, and that's true of any final girl in any movie. You have to freaking face your fear and get past your fear, to defeat what's attacking you, and that's really kind of a message to all of us, right? Fear is what
Mhm.
holds us back, and that same, it comes to the saying we all say that it's not what you did in life, it's more what you didn't do, what you were afraid to do, that's what we regret when we die. So when you are courageous and face your fears and just go for it, I like that message. So
Yeah,
I'm
well, yeah. Look at the Dream Warriors. All of them, they stand up to Freddy, and
yeah,
either it's together or even as one. She goes, "I'm not scared of you." That's when he loses his power, and I think that's like that with bullies in life.
yeah,
With coworkers, like or whatever, and the people that get on your nerves. If you don't have to be a dick about it, but if you stick up for yourself, I think, and if you fight it when they're fight, yeah, that's a great message. It's
it is.
Yeah, you can tell Beatrice. Oh, what are you? My good mother's message, Freddy's mama.
That's
I
right,
want to ask you
dears.
something. I want to ask you something. I've been dying to ask you. And I want to just, I got millions of questions. So I want to, so in the scene, let's go back now to when you're shooting the scene, when you're there in the night, I can see it in my head, and you're getting surrounded by what looks like 60, 70 people. When you're calling out in your nun outfit to Freddy, and he's watching from afar, and you're there. What was that like? Just having people all around you, like a zombie fest almost in
Oh,
the
well,
movie.
no, are you referring to the asylum scene?
Yes, the silent scene when you're calling out to Freddy and you're
Mm,
not outfit and you're like, Freddy, blah, blah, I give birth to you. And then you're just surrounded by all the people. Like, I know it's a movie and it's whatever fake, but was that like anxiety at all dealing with that scene?
well, okay, so a couple things. One, you said you just saw it the other night. Maybe you're doing a little bit too much, but anyway.
No. I've seen it way before. I just made sure to
Well,
refresh up on it.
in that scene, she's not calling out to Freddie. She's calling out to because Freddie isn't even born yet. She doesn't even know about him yet. So it's this what's happening in that particular scene. She's being attacked. She's being raped by these 100 maniacs who are going to
Yeah.
create Freddie. Right
Yes.
there, one of them is Freddie's dad. We don't know which one, but
That's
she's
right.
calling out to the other workers. So she's a nun. She's doing volunteer work in this asylum. She gets locked in over what turns out to be the Christmas holiday, and
Yes.
so she's calling to them like, "Hey, dudes, I'm still here." Before they lock the door, but they don't hear her. They lock her in. She gets trapped in there and gets taken advantage of over 100 times, and but survives.
How'd
And
you deal
so
with that
Freddie's her
mentally
dad.
though? Like did you have like anxiety? I mean,
Yeah, well,
it seems rough.
this is the other part, that people, if you watch the film and are watching it carefully and remember, people always say that to me, like, "Oh, what was that like?" It was not me. It was Alice, Lisa Wilcox. What happens is in Elm Street 5 and the Dream Child, it's you brought me back to give you life. Now I must take yours. Freddy already exists, right? By Elm Street 5, the Dream Child, Freddy exists. He's died many, many times. Well, I mean, he never really comes back to life, but whatever
Right.
us demon people are, he's dead. I'm dead. Seriously, like I'm dead too. And Amanda Kruger sort of pops up from the dead, and she shows up in 3, and she warns people. Like she's got this cool. It's really cool to be able to like pop in from the dead. But anyway, so she she pops in from the dead in 3 and warns them. Warns that doctor or whatever. But then in 5, what happens is each movie, Freddy has to find a new way of coming back once he gets peed on, whatever the dog pee was. That in 2,
And
right?
yes, it opens up the ground and the fire. Yes, opens it up like hell. Yes, I love that.
So, yeah, so in 5, he
Yeah,
conjures his birth back again by bringing me back, by bringing his mom back. But what happens is
oh,
Alice, played by Lisa Wilcox, the gorgeous Lisa Wilcox, is
when you
pregnant
said that.
at the same time. Yeah, so what the scene is she suddenly finds herself on this gurney. Well, no, first she finds herself in that room of the 100 maniacs. And it's her. If you look closely, it's Lisa Wilcox. It's not me. And she's getting attacked. And she looks down at her name tag and it says Amanda Kruger. And she's like, what the hell? Because she doesn't realize she's reliving my history. So she's finding out what happened to Amanda Kruger, how Freddy came to be. So it's her in Elm Street 5. You don't see me. It's actually her. Then you see her ending up on the gurney being whipped into the maternity ward or the gross whatever operation bloody room.
Yeah.
And she's like screaming like, what the hell? But when she looks down, suddenly the point of view changes and then you're looking through her eyes and then you see me and I'm like, oh, why is this happening? Don't let it happen again.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought. Oh, that's right. There's a difference. I mean, obviously you're both young there, but I thought, oh, what a trip. That's why I just stopped watching movie Stone.
Because you need to pay a little more attention for those kind of details. Because
what an idiot!
believe me, no, Adam, everyone gets that one mixed up. Everyone thinks it's her, but that is me, but it's not.
I thought you were looking at yourself, but that makes
no.
sense. I'll get you.
Well, she's a blonde. I'm.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. So I got to ask you this. What's your like? I mean, obviously you said you weren't really into the horror movies, but what's like your biggest one now besides Nightmare? Is there anything out there that you like to watch, like for like a movie, horror movie, or any type of movie?
Well, I totally love the Korean films like that. Train to Busan. I got to tell you, I was very pleasantly surprised when one of my sons had mentioned it. Not Freddie, one of my human sons. I refer to them as. They're all equally bad. But anyway, but one of them had mentioned this movie, right? And I was like, zombie. Like I didn't think zombies was my thing. Oh my God, that movie pulled me in. Did you ever see it? Train to Busan. It's Train to Busan.
No,
it's a Korean zombie film. It's fantastic. And
really?
and what they do, they spend so much time on character development that it just pulls you in. And to me, I even to this day, with all this back here, I don't like gore. That's not my thing. I'm not into gore just for gore's sake. In fact, it's the truth. I have to close my eyes, even though I'm an actor and I know I know it's fake, but I close my eyes when it's gross and bloody because I'm also an empath and I feel things too much. But I love creepy stories, and stuff like that. So, or like, well, you must have seen, what was the TV series we all watched through COVID? The Korean. It was on Netflix.
American Horror Story, or
no, Korean. It was, with the creepy, everyone's being killed off. Come on, somebody knows.
Oh, I don't know.
You guys watching?
You love your overseas art, then. You like your wow.
Well, I do, but this became very popular in the U.S. Come on, guys. What was the Korean TV show? It was it was a bunch of episodes.
Squid Games?
The what?
Squid Games?
Yes. Squid Games.
Yeah, Teresa Harper, who also knew Alice was Lisa Wilcox.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, Tessa, Squid Games, 100%. It was so good, and it's like, it's bloody as all get up and go. Everyone's getting, slashed and killed every episode, hundreds of people getting killed. But you care, like it has characters that you care about, and I loved it. I grew up I'm an old lady. I know I don't. People always say, "Oh, you don't look it," but I am. I'll be 62 in February.
Shut the front door.
Yeah, I was born in 1962.
Wow.
But
Wow.
I
You're
post
lively though. You're bubbly. I mean, you can tell you're kind of carefree to an extent. I mean, you're fun. You're not.
Beatrice Bubbly. Well, you know what? It's not like, guys, listen. Excuse me, but people born in the 60s weren't like, just because we're born in the 60s doesn't mean we couldn't be bubbly or fun. It's not like people. We were the hippie generation, dude.
Damn
We were
straight.
fun.
Oh, you're awesome.
Oh, come
Hey,
on. No,
real
no, no.
quick,
We did
not,
things you guys wouldn't even, you know.
not to touch on that real quick, but of course it is historically haunted, so we do a paranormal. Thomas Patrick Gormley from Archangels of the Paranormal says he could feel your empath energy. So
Could you?
weird.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you this, since like I said, it's a thing. Do you believe in afterlife? Have you seen a ghost? Do you
Oh,
believe in it?
100%. 100%.
Really? You ever had
And
an
in fact,
experience?
I've seen way too many, but I since I was a little, well, we could go all into that, but
We got a half hour. Let's talk. Let's
I go,
wrap. What do you got
well,
for me?
I had a lot of special abilities, I guess, when I was a kid that I didn't, when I was little, I didn't know they were special abilities because I was born with it. For example, my family always said, "Oh, you're so good at finding things," which is so ironic because now I'm a Looney Tune, I can't find my keys for the life of me. But
You're a mama. You're a mama. That's different.
back in the day, so a really good example was we moved. We lived in Japan for 4 years when I was a little kid. From age 5 to age 9, we were living in Japan, and we had moved there. Nobody. This is the other weird thing. I can smell that, but I know that's weird. I can smell you toking.
Oh, it's a joint. I was saying, do you mind if I smoke? Okay.
Well, I can smell it, but it's okay. No, and that's the weirdest
Wow.
thing. You know what? My husband doesn't believe me, but it's so weird. I can smell. Yesterday, I was watching this YouTube video, and it was these guys showing how they make T-shirts, and I could smell the freaking wax and heat. I was like, "Whoa, that was so weird." It just comes through. It's weird.
What?
Anyway, yeah, it's a very
No,
strange thing.
not anyway. No, no, no. You're not getting out that easy.
Well, okay, so let me go back. So I'll tell you. So
Yeah,
I
please.
could find things, right? But my parents didn't know how I did it either. They just said you're good at finding things. So I knew I was good at it, but I just, like you're good at drawing or you're good at driving or whatever. But what was interesting was we we were in Japan. It was the first day we arrived. Nobody could speak Japanese. I was 5 years old. My parents couldn't speak. We were lost. This was in the 60s. There's nothing in English. They had rented a car and were trying to find this inn or wherever, some place that we were going to go. And they said, "Oh God, where is it?" And I was like, "Oh, keep driving until you see this tree. It's going to have big, big pink flowers." And they're like, "What?" And they're driving, kind of going. And then suddenly there was this tree with big pink flowers. I said, "There it is. There it is." I said, "You're going to turn this way. You're going to turn this way." And I said, "Once you turn, keep going until you see a sign with this lady with an umbrella." And so they drove and anyway, long story short, I found the place. And for me, it wasn't shocking because I could see it. Like it pops into my head and I could see it. And they would,
Like a movie, like a reel to reel, almost like real action time, or
kind of like, for example, right now, like I've completely lost the ability, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But for example, right now, you and I have never met before. I don't know your house. All I can see is whatever I see on the screen. And say you said, "Oh my God, I had this other really cool Freddy glove that I wanted to show you. I don't know where it is." Without me thinking about it, it would just pop into my mind and say I'd see your garage or something, and I would see a an old box and underneath it, a
wow,
package, and I would just see it. It would just show up in my mind.
wow,
So
like a vision, almost like a
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and that would happen all the time. But I didn't realize that that's not how you or my parents. I didn't know that that was different because you know what I mean. Like that's how I found things, and they just always said, "Oh, you're so good," but then
Wow.
as I got older, I started to realize, oh, this is a special ability. And then I started to think more and more like, oh, well, I'm special. And instead of it just being this gift that was useful, I started to have I used it for ego. So I would go up to, kids and say, oh, I can tell you whatever's in your pocket, or whatever. When I would do it, I kind of felt like I was cheating because I could see it. Like I could see what's in their pockets. So for me, I knew there wasn't really any skill. It was just like I could see it, you know.
Wow.
So it kind of felt like I was cheating. But anyway, I would do it more and more. And then I started to do we'd do cards and I don't think I did it for money because I was too young to kind of figure that out. But it
Do
was
you
for
think
my
that's why
ego.
you lost it? Do you think as the older you got, your innocence went away? Maybe you lost the gift, or you just were like not open to it. You
I
think?
think that, well, there's probably some part of me that's just not open to it, but I lost the gift the more I started to show off. And I remember it was at
Mm.
about age 11. Um, I was showing off. I was, like, oh, pick a card, any card, and I used to always, I would just see it in my mind's eye. So I'd say, whatever, 10 of hearts. And they'd be like, no. I'm like, what? Of course it is. And I'd be wrong. And and that'd be like,
Wrong.
how can you be wrong if you see it? But it would be wrong more and more. And it started to be like every 50% of the time I'd be wrong. And then it started to be 60% until it just went away. It was
Went
horrible.
away.
And I do
Hmm.
feel, I feel like it's in the past, 50 some years, it's only come up once or twice, and I can't control it. But there was one time my mom called me. She lives in, well, now she lives in Nepal, right by India, but she used to live in Taiwan. And I was living in New York, and she called me, and she said she was panicking. She said, I went to the bank. I'd taken out like the equivalent of, you know, thousands of dollars, and it was Taiwanese money. So her wallet like was money was sticking out of it because she was going to travel. So she said it was like
Yeah.
thick with money. She goes, I've lost it. I can't find it. And she was freaking out, freaking out. And she goes, it's been gone since yesterday. I don't know what to do. She goes, can you bring up your ability? And I was like, because by now, my family knew.
Yeah.
And like I said, I couldn't try to make it happen, but it did. It just popped up. And I saw it was on the inside of her back wheel of her car out in the street. And I said, Mom, and I told that to her, and she goes, no, it's impossible. She goes, I'm on a busy street, and it's been since yesterday. I haven't been out there. She goes, there's no way the wallet would still sit there with all that money. I said, it's right by the tire. Go down there. And she went, and it was there. And that
Oh.
was I'm in New York, and that was in Taiwan. But I'm telling you, seriously, I, Adam, if I told you how often I lose things all day long, I can never find anything. Right now I'm missing a set of keys. I don't know where the hell they are.
Oh
I'm missing a
no.
credit card. I cannot find it. Like I can't find anything. I'm missing a ring. I can't find I
Oh.
it's ridiculous. So anyway, but
Wow.
it is in there. But which
But
brings us
but
back.
you dug it out when you needed to without thinking you to help your mom though. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
there.
Well, I don't know that it was me, it just sort of came through, if that makes
Dude,
any sense.
people are loving this. Look at that. They go, wow,
Yeah.
great conversation here, Darren says. But oh yeah, you tell you Freddie's mom knows her shit. She's not all just
Yeah.
giving birth to a superhero.
I
She
know it,
knows her
right?
shit. So I
But
gotta ask
the thing,
you. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
well, just the thing that I wanted to say about that is I truly feel like we all have in your paranormal folk know this for sure. It's like, we are so focused on just the six senses that we know, or the five or whatever it is. But
Yeah,
um eh, but in reality there's so many more. And it's just that it's not encouraged in our we're not trained. Like kids can see so much, and know so much, but like they're like, oh, look at that, oh, there's that man, and we'd kind of pretend they have an imaginary friend, and all that kind of stuff, because we just never believed it. And so it's not encouraged, and it ends up going away. I think most of us had a lot of different abilities when we were little, but it
I
just was never
agree.
nourished and identified and trained. Um, but
That's a
yeah,
big
the
thing.
seeing
No one uses imagination. Adults are forbidden. If you use imagination as an adult, you're going to be thrown in the loony bin.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Oh,
but
was that
seeing
guy
the
talking? You know?
yeah, but seeing the dead people, oh my God, I do. I see. I took this workshop
Mm.
that it was about increasing your intuition. And I took it because I was hoping that I maybe would get that gift back, to be honest with you. I was thinking, and when I got there, and I drove an hour to go out to this place, it turned out it was all just for mediums. And the lady leading it was like this master medium. She does, readings all over the place. And everybody taking it was professional mediums as well. And I was like, oh, I'm in the wrong place. But I drove so far. So, and I had paid for it, prepaid. So I took the workshop. And so we'd first partner with, she partnered us off, and she was teaching us these different skills. And she does evidence based mediumship. And so your job, if somebody's reading you, you have to be very clear about not giving out any information. You just listen, and the most you can do is say yes or no, but that's it, right?
Wow.
Um, and and then you're supposed to take notes of all the things that they get accurate. And then afterwards you tell them. And she was teaching us all these different things. It was an 8 or 9 hour workshop. It was a long, long day. And I was
Whoa.
doing all this stuff with people. And so you'd sit with your partner, and I would sit. I don't want to do it. I don't know if I could, but anyway. But you sit across from the person, and I would see people. I would just see people behind them, and I would start to tell them about it. And finally, at the end of the workshop, she wanted us to do group reading. So one at a time, we'd stand in front of the class, and I think there was about maybe 8 or 9 people. And so each time somebody would read the whole room, and it was going like that. And I was the last one to go up. And when I came up, I stood up, and immediately in the corner of the room, like the audience was sitting here, and in the corner of the room, I saw this little boy. To this day, I can see him as if whatever, but it was this little boy, and he was about 4 years old, blonde hair, terrified in the corner, just like freaking out. And I could tell that he wasn't physically there. Like I was aware that he wasn't there, but I also saw him. And so I described it, and she looks around the room. The leader is looking around the room. She goes, anyone? Because you're supposed to say like, oh, if
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
relates to you. And
Yeah, yeah.
nobody. And she goes, nobody has a blonde 4-year-old. That doesn't mean anything to anyone. And and I said, he's just terrified right now. And then she kind of looks in that direction, and she said, is this what's the term she used? Like a lost spirit, something like a lost spirit, like somebody,
Oh.
this kid that needed to transition, and he got trapped somehow. And so she said, well, you need to help him because he came to you. So she talked me through this method of trying to pull down somebody to connect with him. And so
Wow.
I was able to find his grandmother. And as soon as she kind of made contact, I could see it was like literally like light kind of was shining, and he looked up, and not out loud, but internally, I was telling him it's safe. You can go, you can go. And as soon as they made contact, they both disappeared. Well, the funniest thing is the minute that happened, boom, like that, there was this freaking line, Adam. I'm not kidding. Like there was this line of ghosts, like tons of them, all these
Oh,
people. And I was like, "What?" And she could see it too. And she said, "Well, you're very good at this, and they all need your help." And I said, "But I don't want to do it. Like no offense to dead people, but I'm having hard enough time with my life with alive people,
it's
you know,
taxing. Yeah.
there's people that are drawn to it. I don't want to be doing that work, no offense." And so she said, "Well, then you have to, it's like having a storefront sign. You need to say the doctor is not in, like you need to tell them very clearly, I'm not open for this, and you need to
Really?
shut it out. Otherwise they will keep coming at you. So you have to close, because they can sense when there's somebody that can want to be able to communicate. So they want people that can, hear them and communicate. I just don't want to go in that realm. It's just, but I do believe it. I see them. I know that they exist. So 100%.
Wow. So you shut off your light, so to speak. So
Yeah.
it's almost like they know you're not. That's fucking wild. Pardon my language, but that's wow. Yeah, people watching are all enthralled by that. It's yeah, crossover. Someone put that's a crossover. But you saw
Yeah.
like a tunnel of like almost like a freeway of
It was
crossover.
weird, like, they all showed up because, well, they I get she know she, the medium who runs this psychic center, they know they're aware that this is a good place to come, if you wanna find a voice piece, because people are working towards that. But what was really interesting, and stop me if I'm rambling on too much, but
No, I love
she,
this.
so the leader, the medium, she told me, she said, you never got to read me, because everyone got to read her at the end. And she goes, I want to one-on-one, you and me tomorrow. But I lived like over an hour away. So she said, we can do it through Zoom. So it's just like this. And I had no idea if I would be able to do it. Like I didn't know. And so I looked at her just like I'm looking at you. I don't know if I want to, but anyway, but I saw this woman behind her. And so she said, I'm not going to give you anything except yes and no, but I need evidence. So I saw this woman. She says, Who is this woman? What is her relationship to me?" And so I said, "It's your aunt." And she goes, "Correct." She goes, well, no, at the time she wouldn't say correct or not. She would just nod her head or whatever. And then she asked me, where was it? And I said it, I could tell it wasn't the United States. But, and she's from South Africa, but it wasn't South Africa. So it was sort of tropical. Anyway, long story short, I described, we were outside by this pool. She said, well, do you see a house? I saw the house. She says, describe it. I described it. She said, go to the house, walk in. And I did. And she had me describe each room. And so I did. And she was taking notes. And then we get to the kitchen and she says, ask her to give me something. So I did. And the aunt handed me these 2 little statues. And then she said, ask her. Oh, she asked me, is she married? And it was so funny because, like, when I would ask the person, it's not like I wouldn't ask in words. It's like, it's almost like at the moment you think it, it's already transpired. Like I don't say, ooh, ghost, are you married? It's not even that. It's just as soon as she posed the question to me, I just kind of listened for the answer. And the answer I got was this woman, when I said, are you married? She goes, oh, like that. And so one of the things she taught us was try your best not to interpret, because that's where mediums go wrong, is when we put in our interpretation, we are putting in our interpretation. So it's colored by what we think, and so maybe like if I tried to interpret it, I might say, oh, she has a sneeze, or she's allergic to him, or she doesn't like his taste, or I don't know, like whatever. But I just, so based on what she taught me, I said, well, you asked if she was married, and she went, whatever. And I just repeated it. She started laughing and laughing, and she wrote some notes down. And then she said, find out what was her hobby. And as soon as she said that, I saw this in my eyes, I saw this really beautiful, elaborate a whole chess set. But then she looks at I see the chess set, but I also see the woman kind of like, rolling her eyes with this chess set. So I said, well, I don't really know. I'm seeing a chess set, but I'm not really sure that's her hobby, because she went, ugh. And I repeated that. And she writes that down. Then we kept talking. And then the weirdest part was she said, okay, now we finished in the kitchen, go down the hallway. And I couldn't. And she's like, go on, go on. And every time I tried, all I saw was darkness, and I just couldn't get past it. And she goes, it's fine. I want you to just walk through, because she's teacher too. So she's like, it's okay. Take a deep breath and just go through. I said, I can't. So for whatever reason, I just couldn't. It was all I saw was black, and I was being blocked out. So I left it. So she said, okay, fine. And then she pulled out her notes, and she started to tell me each of these things. And she said, it was funny because she was married to him, but she never accepted the marriage. She was always like, oh, she just would always go when it came to her husband. And she said the chess set, she actually had bought it with her aunt. They were at a garage sale, and it was so beautiful, but really expensive and ornate. And the uncle was like so pissed off that they spent the money on it, because they would never play. They never played with it. They just, and every time they'd walk by, he'd be like, oh, that expensive chess set, why don't you play? And they never played. Anyway, while she's telling me all this stuff, suddenly the hallway opened up, and I could see that hallway. I could see down the hallway. So I started to travel down it, and I saw behind the kitchen was this little, like a living room kind of room. And I saw her being raped by her uncle. And I was like, oh, shit.
Whoa.
So I didn't,
fun stuff. It's,
so I didn't know what to say. So I finally said, I'm sorry, while you're talking, the hallway opened up. I was able to see. And she goes, well, what did you see? And I said, I don't know. It just, and she goes, what? And I said, I saw you and your uncle, and like he was raping you. And her face went white. Her jaw just dropped. And she goes, listen here. She goes, I have blocked that memory. Like I trap it so that nobody, because I work with mediums. I don't want anyone to know. So I've never let anyone see it. Never let anyone see it. She said most of her mediums, are average about 40 to 60% accuracy. She said you were 100%. So
what?
Yeah. So it was pretty wild. Freddy Krueger's Mama Kruger, she be.
Beatrice, whatever. Oh my God. Shit. I mean, I know you were Freddy Krueger's mom, but I had no clue about your natural gifts. I had no idea. I just
I actually never
thought I'd
really
be
talked
laughing
about
at a
them.
horror movie.
Yeah.
Wow. Have you said this to anybody? Does anybody else know this besides our listeners? I mean, is this I've watched some interviews of you on YouTube. I never heard you talk about this stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I ever did. No.
All right, historians.
There
Yes.
you go. Yeah, it just never came up.
Everybody's overwhelmed. Look at the chat. Truth. Yes, it's overwhelming. You need to have boundaries, and that's what astral projecting. Darren says that sounds like that's kind of what you're doing here. People look at that. Wow. Michelle Morgan, first time I've never seen this name. Awesome with a heart. Wow. Thomas with a wow. Love it. Linda says, whose husband's with battling cancer in Seattle, Washington. Thank you guys for checking in. Shit, we got about 10 minutes to go. Real quick, my mouse on the ground. I got so much more to talk about, and I'm gonna have to have you back. It's just the end of it, because now it's on a whole paranormal realm. I could talk an hour about your gift alone, girl. Holy cow, you've been holding out on me.
Oh yeah.
Do you think any of your kids have this gift? Do you think you passed it on?
Well, and not to be sexist or anything, but there a lot of the cool stuff has come down the women's side of my family because my mom has it, my sister has it in different ways. I think my aunt has it. I don't know about the guys. I have 2 sons. I'm sure they have different types of gifts, but I don't know.
No one ever
some
opens up
stuff.
to you though, like mom. I think I saw us. No one ever says nothing crazy.
Well, I was very open to it because of my own upbringing. So I was, more like if they would say anything, I would certainly have, listen carefully. I listen a lot to babies in particular because babies, like little babies, they, they haven't been molded and taken, their abilities haven't been taken away from them yet. So they've got it all. So, you can learn a lot from as soon as they can start to talk, maybe even before they can talk. But, kids will talk about past lives. Kids will remember stuff like
I was just going to ask you, do you believe in past lives? Do you believe
100%. My family, we were born believing it. Like we know it's not even belief. For me, it's not a belief. I just remember, not the way my sister really remembers. I mean, she remembers. She taught herself how to speak German. We were living in Japan. She taught herself how to speak German she was like age 11 with a freaking dictionary. She could have conversations with people in German. You can't learn from a dictionary. You can't learn, but she died as a German soldier. She remembers her death, and she's been able to see it in history books. I mean,
wow. Oh, yeah. Dude, even John says so special that Beatrice opened up to you, Adam. Thank you, John. John's tuned in for every week for 3 years now. Sometimes I think he's fake. Thank you so much.
I've never talked about this publicly. This is good.
Yeah, anyway. Awesome. Darren says, got to run. Awesome show. I'll be back. Thank you, Darren. Don't forget, check out Beatrice. She's all over Facebook doing her thing. I got to, I sat with Beatrice last weekend. Best woman.
That's Michelle. Yeah, Michelle. That's my girl. Yay.
Awesome.
It's because the picture is her kids. Michelle,
love that.
I remember your first name. Amazing. She was with me at TerraCon, and she was the best. No, Michelle, you're the best. You're the best. She was my assistant, and she was awesome.
Look,
and she must have read the book by now.
Love Michelle, with a heart, she says.
Michelle, you've read the book by now, right? The Kruger's Curse.
I got to read that. That's on my bucket list. I'm going to have you sign it. Rachel King from Candle Witch that says, I have Freddy tattooed on me. #1 fan. Thank you so much for coming on tonight and loved hearing all of this. Thank you. We got 10 minutes to go. Shit, I got a million questions. Let me ask you, Beatrice, for someone like you, a traveler, I guess, of sorts, you've lived so many places. Give me two. Give me 2 places that are your favorites and 2 places you haven't gone. Give me some bucket list, but give me the places that your favorites you've gone.
My favorites. Well,
can
India.
Be America. Give me one for America. Give me one for other than America that you like the best.
Well, what popped into my mind was India because it just is. India is a place that I think most people, you either love it or hate it. If it depends on how you see it. Some people go and all they can see is the poverty, which there is a lot, real poverty. Though, right? But there's also incredible beauty and magic and spirituality and color and vibrancy, and it's a fascinating culture.
That's where Nepal is, right? India is Nepal
right next to Yeah,
Okay.
Nepal is like the mountains, the Everest and all that. That's
Oh,
yeah,
Everest, mother.
that's where my
Yeah.
mom lives. Um, yeah, Everest is right.
There's dead bodies on that mountain still that people are trying
Oh,
to climb it, right? They're
I'm pretty
frozen.
sure. Yeah, correct me somebody if I'm wrong about Everest being there. But anyway, it definitely has the huge mountains.
That
And that's
sounds
where my
right.
mom lives, and it's very similar to India because they're right up against each other. In the U.S., oh my gosh, there's so many beautiful places. I just did a last year when I turned 60. My girlfriend and I, she lives in Canada. We did a road trip. We did a little Thelma and Louise. We both flew in. She flew in from Canada. I flew in from New York, and we met in Vegas. And we rented a car and went through all the national parks. We just didn't.
Oh.
Yeah, so we did the Thelma and Louise without throwing ourselves off at the end. We just
I'll say you're still here. So is that Route 66? No?
Well, no, I love Route 66. I used to when I
Oh, it's
lived
my
in
biggest
California.
bucket
We'd go
list.
up to New Mexico, but so
Oh.
many of those national parks along there are just incredible. Like I mean, Zion is fantastic, but the one that I loved the most was with Arches was really cool.
Oh.
Bryce Canyon.
I was
Oh,
saying, what about Grand Canyon? But Bryce Canyon's a big one too.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
There's so many really.
Nevada, right? Or New Mexico? Texas?
It's no,
Shit.
it's in Nevada. I think it's
Nevada.
Nevada, Arizona, somewhere close to there. There's so many. U.S. has beautiful places, and then you said where I haven't gone. There's a lot of
Well,
places.
real quick before we do,
Yeah.
Michelle says yes, she read your book. You got to discuss it. OMG, yes, I read
Okay.
your book. And
Okay.
also real quick, Reese Bowling. Hey Beatrice, hope you're having a spooktacular night. Thank you for checking in, Reese. So yeah, give me some bucket list. Give me some places you haven't been that you just got to go. Have you been to Massachusetts, like Lizzie Borden, Salem,
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like
Massachusetts. Well, my son, my one of my human sons is going to Northeastern.
that?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Norris, yeah.
Northeastern, and he's in Boston. Although he isn't there right now. Now he's in Washington D.C. doing a internship, which of course, as of tonight, is bust because the government shut down. So we'll see what happens. But Boston, yeah. Oh, Lizzie Borden. God, that was the movies. I love the movies. I love the scary movies in the 70s. And to me that wasn't horror per se. It was scary. I mean,
Yes.
maybe it's like I don't know. I love the haunty, creepy, spooky stuff. Um
Yes. Elizabeth
yeah.
Montgomery played her, and Elizabeth Montgomery and Lizzie were third cousins. She didn't know that till Lizzie died, but
Wow, really?
she played her in the Lizzie Borden 1976. And I spent that whole night, me and my girlfriend Heather from Witch and Life Guide. We spent the night at Lizzie Borden's house like 3 years ago before Corona. And the girl goes, the other two families canceled. You're on your own. Don't die. We had the whole house to ourselves for $200.
Whoa.
Oh, I didn't sleep
Ooh.
that night, Beatrice. I spent all night with my cord. Are you here, Lizzie? The chandelier shook. We got to see the crime scene things, the autopsy tables from her parents. Oh, what a girl she
Oh,
is.
wow.
Yes.
Wow.
You never been Lizzie's Fall River?
No, mm-mm. I'll have to.
Oh, people love the
Yeah.
human son comment.
Yeah. My human sons. Yeah.
Salem, you been to which city?
Yes, I have. I have. That's yeah, really
And we
cool.
mentioned Maine. You get some family ties up here, a restaurant in Portland area, I
In the
believe.
Portland area, yeah, and I have never been to Alaska yet. Um,
Oh,
uh, wait,
New Orleans, Voodoo
yes,
City.
I've been to New Orleans, and
Really?
that's where they filmed a lot of the Planet of the Apes. The
Oh.
last three Planet of the Apes. My girlfriend she plays Maurice, the big orangutan. Karen Carnival. Have you seen the you know Rise of the Planet of the Apes and
I love
John?
Planet. Yes, I didn't
Yeah,
know idea. No shit.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she's her name's Karen Carnival, and she's a small person physically, and she plays this Maurice, the orangutan. She studies orangutans and really learn the movement and how to really really cool stuff. But they were all down in New Orleans, NOLA. But
Nola, oh, the crayfish.
yeah,
Oh, a big one here. Oh my God, Adam, I met you with the first Paracon Tuesday. Oh yeah, the Warren con with me, Annabelle. I had my own. Very emotional on meeting you. Beatrice, I've been trying to meet you. One of these days, I love talking to you. Thank you, God. Both. Adam, will you be at the Paracon? Warrens? No, I won't be. Ask Beatrice. Beatrice, you coming up? I know you're doing tours. You coming up to the East Coast for some Paracons?
well, we were just outside of Boston. We were, that's where Michelle. We were. Where was that, Michelle? Warrington,
Cambridge, maybe, or
Warrington, Massachusetts.
oh, I just
Something like
missed
that.
you. Shoot.
Oh my God, it was Robert Englund. I mean, it was one of the biggest Elm Street groups
I saw
ever.
the picture. You had the whole group there, like a reunion. You're all there, and Freddie's in the middle with his gray.
Yeah. Oh, and I got to know
Oh,
Marty Gapstein, who's the voice of Courage the Cowardly Dog. Oh my God, we had so much fun. Anyway,
Michelle says Marlboro. Oh, Marlboro, like the cigarette.
yeah, Marlboro. But coming up, yeah, no, this weekend, this coming, not tomorrow, but the following weekend, I'll be in Pennsylvania at tattoo. It's called the Central PA Tattoo and Horror Con. And if anyone ever gets a Amanda Kruger tattoo, I will give them either a copy of my book or my doll.
Oh shit! I'm gonna get a fucking tattoo in a month so I can meet you soon.
See, you got to do. You get an Amanda with, you can have Baby Freddy coming out or the glove coming out, you know, so that they're not just like, why do you have this nun? You know?
Real quick before we go, let me bring this on real quick, guys. This is a little bit I saw on YouTube of there's no voice for some reason, but real quick. Let me push play on this bad boy. This is a little dedication to Amanda.
Your birth was a curse on the whole of humanity. I will not.
There she is.
Again. You brought me back to give you birth, but now I must take yours.
Called Mama
Bitch. See? So that's the...
I see the difference now. I get you.
Right? See, she's looking. That messy room. Can you imagine giving birth in a place like that?
Oh my God. Yeah, you get tetanus shot after.
And here I was worried that, anyway, this crazy blood.
Hey, it's
my little baby Freddy, and that's a cat that jumped down, and then it cuts away to this robot. And this is when I get to be a skeleton. Woohoo! Man, we had trouble with those pigeons.
Look at that. I mean,
my baby. That's my baby. I'm glad Freddy went back into me, not the way he came out.
Oh my goodness gracious! That would be walking sideways for us. And real quick, guys, can you see this on Facebook? Can you guys see that, Amanda? I'm Amanda. Oh my God, Beatrice.
Yeah.
There's your movie. Can you see the Friday the 13th Blood Loss?
Oh, what about? Oh yes, people. I'm gonna be playing Pamela Voorhees in Friday the 13th Blood Loss, a fan film. Oh my God, Michael Camino. Is it Michael?
Yeah.
What's his first name?
Oh,
dude,
shoot.
I'm horrible with names. He's gonna, if he's watching, he'll.
Are you? I watched the Freddy thing, and you had a shout out in one of there's like 4 or 5 documentaries about Freddy, and I know you're a couple I've seen.
Yeah, I'm in the big huge long one that everyone did. Never Sleep Again.
Never Sleep Again. That's on Tubi right now for free.
Oh, is it?
Did you work with John Campipiano recently on the new Freddy documentary?
No.
I had him as a guest on. He did a Freddy documentary. I don't know if you were in it or not. It hasn't been released yet. I wasn't sure. But you got this new Jason one coming out. When's that coming out? You still in the works of shooting that?
Yeah, no, their filming begins middle of October, and I'm gonna find it while we're talking because I got to give him a shout out. But Ari Lehman is in it, who's the first Jason. AJ Stone is in it. But is it Michael? What I know, I can see the name. Hold on 1 second here.
Yeah, take your time.
Blood Loss. Where are we? Oh, Anthony Camano. Caimano. Anthony Camano.
He said he was watching. So if you hear text in, and I remember earlier, Beatrice is like, she's like, "Who's gonna watch me with Adam tonight?" And he put a heart on. I'm like, "Oh, he better be watching because we're mutual friends too."
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm so bad with names. I suck at names.
Well, dude, you're a mother too. I get it. Mother of the horror badasses. Yes, I would say Beatrice is going to adopt me too. When she comes to Maine, I'm going to show her around. I'm gonna grab a couple more minutes out of you, if you don't mind, because I got a couple good questions for you. What do you like to listen to for music? I'd love to know what Mama Kruger listens to for tunes. What do you
Well,
dig?
okay. Well, so my son, one of my human sons again, is he's a DJ, and he's a music producer, and he's like totally into this EDM, which I'm not, but I I grew up when I was a little girl. We were only allowed to listen to classical music and what do you call it? I guess ethnic music. We had these albums. One was they were all through National Geographic. One was Music of the Ozarks. One was Music of Scotland. One was Music of Ireland. And I learned all these like down in New York and down in New York and down in the Arkansas, the sweetest girl. No, but I learned all these different songs from these albums. And then of course when I was a teenager, I loved all the popular music of the time of the 60s and 70s and 80s and then yes, I will admit it, I am a woman. I'm from the era of disco, I will admit it. Not in terms of the music was not great, but it was great to dance to. It was really easy and fun to dance to, and you could go to the nightclub and stay on the dance floor right until it closed at like 2 or 3 in the morning. But I love classical rock, is what I love to listen to. But I do love also bizarre ethnic sounds. No, I'm not a metal fan. I know a lot of horror people are, but although I do kind of. Well, does Who count? Are they metal? Not
Oh, the not
Mongolian.
Who, but the Who, the Mongolian
The
throat
Who.
singing.
Yeah.
Beatrice did some throat singing on Historically Haunted VODCAST. Yes, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Who,
cool.
right? HU. Huh. Or huh.
Yes. George says the Bee Gees. Well, yeah, see, that brings Beatrice back to the time, I think, more than the music. You said disco, but I think it's just because of the time.
I mean, the music sucks. I mean, it really does. But although it's singable, you can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man. No time to talk. Music. But no, yeah, it's not great music. It's just, but it does. You're right. It's nostalgic, is all it is. It
reminds me of the movie Airplane. There's the movie Airplane.
Oh,
the guy's doing the polka. That's Marlene Clark. Hello, checking in from Ghost House Paranormal. Hello, woohoo, classic rock. Oh, that's cool. So, and also too, and girls hate this question, but I don't care. You're human. What do you like to do after maybe like a nice convention? You sit down with a nice steak, a burger, some seafood. What's a go-to meal for you? Italian?
Oh my God. Well, seafood. If it's after the con, I could do Mexican. I won't do Mexican before a con.
Stomach. Oh yeah, I hear you.
Can't be, but then afterwards, if you're celebrating like margaritas and Mexican food is awesome. But I 100%. I love Mexican food. I love Thai food. I love Chinese, Japanese, but I mean authentic Chinese, Italian, Mexican, Vietnamese.
You've been to Korea. What's Korean food like? Is that like Chinese at all, or
no, very, very different. And Korean food is a different. They use a lot of pepper. Like if you think of kimchi and stuff like that. But I love seafood. I love cooking. I used to be a little bit of a gourmet cook as well.
Julia Child here.
Yeah, pretty much. But let's see. Yeah, no, there's not that many foods I don't like. I love to eat. People know.
Seafood. You're talking my language now.
Well, you can tell when you meet me at conventions with other Elm Street people. You can tell who eats and who doesn't. I eat.
I'll bring you a Maine lobster roll. Damn right I will.
Oh my God, I love lobster. And I make a really good chowder. I make a really nice chowder.
Oh, come on, Beatrice. I'm stoned now. Don't give me the munchies here. So before we end this thing, I want you to plug whatever you want to plug. Do you want to plug? Do you have a YouTube channel, Instagram, any of that shit where your books are? Go ahead and plug whatever you want right now.
Well, so first here, Doomsday Crypt.
Oh, that's right.
So that's
on Facebook.
Yeah, that's John Henderson is the master. He's the one-eyed demon, Doomsday Crypt. And then our podcast.
Oh, that's dope. That's what the cover of the Facebook page looks like.
Yeah, that's DK and the Bees Horror Buzz. That's my that's the podcast that John and I do. He also does
like it, follow, like, share, subscribe, follow, everything. Do you put your episodes on YouTube?
Yeah, they're on YouTube.
What's
Haven't.
that?
We've both been super busy. He's doing so many conventions. He also does a podcast with Brett Wagner, the Schwag, he's doing tons of conventions as well. The Lost Leatherface. So we both do podcast. God, there's so many things to plug.
Look, Michelle loves your shirt. She goes, awesome shirt.
Yay. And do you know this?
Oh, what is that? Monster. Yes, the Monster. Yeah. Monster.
Yeah. Monster Mag. So that's the New England horror magazine, the independent New England horror. And
that's where I'm based out of. Maine, guys. Maine's bigger than New England right there. Yeah.
And here, the Doomsday Crypt. There we are. There's me and the Schwag.
Do you bring that with you to conventions to sign and sell?
Well, no, I mean, but I think they're trying to sell them in conventions, and they got,
I see.
It's a great magazine full, it's full of gore and horror and creepy stories and
yes. And it's a good drawing.
And ooh, look at this one section.
Oh, who is that? I wonder, with the Freddy Krueger in that outfit.
Dear Mama Kruger.
Oh my goodness.
And it has, and then like centerfold.
Nice boobies, yeah.
Yeah, see? And it's got there's a whole thing on paranormal activity here. Yeah, anyway, but so this was their first episode, or what not episode, what do you call it? First edition.
Edition, yeah.
The premiere issue. But the next one is coming out, so you guys just be on the lookout for it. It will be at I don't know all the places that they're going to have it available, but be on the lookout for Monster Mag.
You look like you're 40 years old. Get the fuck out of here. Dude, you're amazing. You're so pushing this stuff. We got 5 more minutes. If you don't mind, I want to push. I can get 5 more minutes out of you.
Well,
do you accept friends on your Facebook page? Because it's kind of a fan page, right?
Oh yeah, no. I think they stop you at 5,000. I think I've got about room for one more, honey.
You're getting there.
Do you remember that? Do you know what that is?
Not Elvira, but
Okay, listeners, who remembers? Remember my age? I was born in 1962.
I don't believe it.
Room for one more, honey. If anyone's around my age, you might remember.
Not Vampirella, not Elvira.
Let's see. Well, anyway, it was a really spooky, creepy episode of either Twilight Zone or Outer Limits. I think it was Twilight Zone. And it was this horrible hospital thing. No, this elevator. Oh my God, what was it? And it was a hospital with a morgue. And this creepy nurse came out, room for one more, honey. Anyway.
Dude, you got a good memory. You ain't bullshit. You got a lot of good stuff up in that brain of yours holding on to. The other day she goes, oh, by the way, guys, she is on Instagram. She goes, follow me on Instagram. I said, I'll follow you to hell. And she put a heart.
Follow me to hell.
You're on Instagram and you're on TikTok, right?
Yep.
I follow you on TikTok too.
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook.
I mean, I don't have time to do too much on it, but I have fun when I do. And if you've seen it, I do weird things. I make Baby Freddy and Amanda have, we sing duets, I animate the little faces and we sing, there's one with Amanda Kruger and Freddy. I think it might even be that Amanda, I don't know, and a Baby Freddy head or something, but I animate them and they're singing the Lion King, and little Freddy's going, ooh,
That's where Freddy got his humor from. You.
There you go. Must be.
They gotta make a Mama Kruger pop. They need a pop.
100%. I need one.
Yeah, I believe that.
So next weekend, the 6th, 7th, and 8th is Central PA Tattoo. Oh,
I do 22.
22. Okay.
Okay, so go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. Plug it.
No. I'm so glad somebody remembered. Awesome. I loved the old Twilight Zone and Outer Limits.
And the plane.
Ooh. Oh gosh, you remember the one with not George Burns? Who was it? Or was it? But can't remember anyway. But it was the guy that wanted to he loved reading and he was always like, oh, I wish people would just disappear. I never get to read in peace. And then he wakes up one morning and there was some atomic bomb. Nobody's there. And he's all excited. And he goes, oh, Meredith, what's his name? Burgess Meredith, I think it was playing it. But anyway, he goes running to the library. He's so excited, and as he's running up, he crashes and breaks his glasses, and now he's blind.
Oh
No,
no!
eternity with no glasses. But
Oh.
But yeah, so next weekend I'm doing the Central PA Tattoo and Horror Con. That's in Central PA. Then the following weekend I'm coming out to Burgess. I'm coming out to West Virginia to it's called KillCon and Encounters. And then the following weekend is Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky. I am so excited. I'm teaching a yoga class at Scarefest, a stretch yoga class.
Instructor, guys, yes.
So get to do yoga with Mama Kruger. I'm also doing myself and Pumpkinhead, Brian Bremer, and Lisa, not Lisa, beautiful, what's her name? Felissa Rose.
Strike a pose.
Felissa Rose, beautiful Felissa Rose.
I miss Felissa Rose, Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah.
I think it was her in the paddle. She's going.
Yeah. So Felissa, myself, and Brian Bremer, and I believe. I don't know her name, but she's the daughter of Meatloaf, is organizing this. It's a story time, spooky story time for the fans. So we're all going to be in pajamas and tell spooky stories. And I get to see Richard Dreyfuss, reunite with him again, because I haven't seen him in forever. And at the last event I was at, they actually several with stakeout posters for me to sign, which was really cool.
Man, you work with a lot of big names, and I'm not gonna lie, dude. You and Felissa are like two of my first crushes, dude. Holy shit!
Aw, that's so sweet.
I gotta meet you, man. I gotta meet you, and you'll know who I am. Like, I'm Adam, you're on my show, and I definitely want your book signed. But if you guys order her book, check her out on Facebook, on all the platforms, and come to a convention near you. If you guys follow her on Facebook, you're always posting, and I got to ask you, obviously, I'll give you a little bit of time. You're a busy girl, but maybe around Christmas time, I can get you back on, maybe January, talk a little bit more. I love to know a little bit more about the paranormal side that you got, because I feel like you have a lot more to talk about if you're up to it.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, we can definitely talk about that. And I can talk about the first ghost I saw in Japan and all kinds of fun stuff.
God, what a world traveler. The book is ordered. Yeah, the boy.
Awesome. You guys need to write. Well, you don't need to, but I would love it I would appreciate it if you guys would email or whatever NECA Toys and also Funko Pop and say, "Oh my God, we want a Amanda Kruger doll."
Push.
If enough people ask, they might do it.
They got the Twinkie guy and the Kool-Aid guy. They can get a fucking Freddy Krueger's mom, guys. Come on.
Seriously, I mean,
Come on, guys. Look at the collection she's got. I hope to meet you. Yes, well, Rachel, check out. You go to a lot of conventions selling your candles there, Candle Witch. Check it out and make sure you say, I saw you. Real quick, do you know anybody named Maggie that's maybe passed on or anything?
Well, I know a living Maggie.
Marlene. I'm a little bit late here, but she's checking in. I want to know if there's a Maggie. She mentioned it twice. I don't know if maybe that ring a bell. She's kind of a psychic that checks in.
Is there something dangerous about her? Because I have a Maggie in my life. Yeah.
Okay. Well, is there a call for that before we go? We can go a little bit over. We can go to 9:20. I really don't want to rob you of your time, but if you're willing to talk, Beatrice, I don't mind going another 4 minutes.
Yeah. No. I'm willing to talk if she's seeing something about Maggie.
Well, that good. That leads me for another question. What is where do you see yourself this time next year? Do you see yourself in more roles? Do you see yourself writing your own book, maybe doing more tours, meet and greets?
Yeah. Well, a lot of fans have asked for another book since this one. There's so many things I could write about. I mean, my life has been absolutely ridiculously crazy. In fact, my husband, when he first met me, we met at a holiday party, and he said, he told me afterwards, he goes, when I met you, I was like, oh my God, she's so cute or whatever. She's so hot. He goes, but damn, what a freaking liar. Because he didn't think my stories were just, he thought it was outlandish. He didn't think it was true. And then, then he ended up meeting my family and learning about it. And he's like, fuck, it's true, because crazy stuff. The lineage in my family is wackadoodle. People won't believe the famous.
What's your heritage? You don't mind me asking. Are you Russian or German?
Chinese, German, and Swiss.
Wow, that's a weird little combo. Is she sickly? Is Maggie sickly by any chance?
I don't know. I'm not very close to her, but I could find out.
Tell her to check up on her liver.
Okay.
Maybe. Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, she's checked in a little bit, so not to be cause alarm, but But anyway, I don't want to end on that note. I want to end on a good note. Beatrice, you've been honestly, dude, like one of my favorite guests. I'm not just doing it to kiss your butt. You've been really awesome, informative, a lot of energy. You've
Yeah.
literally gone through all the spectrums, and you made this hour fly by like cocaine.
And then
If you-
she's all right.
Yeah, it is
She's all right.
Oh, I love your spirit. I love your picture of you and Freddie with his gray hair. He's got the glove. I shared that. I'm like, I got Freddie's mom tonight who wants to talk. Not like that, guys. Get your head out of the gutter. I go, but who wants to answer some questions? And people were loving it. I go, you really talking to Freddie's mom? I go, tune in. So,
That's right.
thank you for your time, Beatrice. You're a busy person. You're a great soul, mama. And just, I appreciate your time. I know people say that, but I do. I really do. It means a lot.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed it very much. And thank you to, what was her name that told us about Maggie?
Marina, she goes, I love your voice. Marlene, M-A-R-L-A, Marlene Clark.
Marianne.
She's tuned in before. She's usually pretty spot on with my guests. I have no idea who she is, but
Okay.
so and thank you to your friend checking in. Give them all my blessings to, right there, Michelle.
Yeah, Michelle.
Nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in, Michelle. I appreciate that. Nice meeting you, John says. Nice meeting you, Beatrice. John from Seattle. George says,
Seattle, yeah. I used to live in
Seattle, Washington. A minute to go. Anything I left out you want to say? Anything?
Well, Seattle, you can ask Crypticon. They just had me out in Denver, and I know that they have a Crypticon Seattle. So I want to go out to Seattle because my best friend lives in British Columbia. So
I got a question for you. I have a filming location that was shot, a Stephen King movie that was filmed in Maine, and I have a lot of people. Hopefully next July, maybe even August. Would you come if I? Obviously, it's way far away, but if I message you and could hook up your travel expenses, can I get you to come down to Maine? You think? I mean,
possibly, yeah.
Put that in the
If I'm
pocket.
available,
I'm ironing
100%.
out the details. It's a little bit of a ride. You can
Right.
fly into Bangor, where the Langoliers was filmed. Stephen King's Langoliers.
Ooh,
That
okay,
was filmed at the Bangor airport. You could fly into there, and I could get something to bring you over. It's not far from there. But
Okay.
I'd love to have you there. I would be my
That'd be
first
fun.
Paracon.
Okay.
But I'm no pressure. I know I shouldn't put you on the red seat because but it's
Ooh,
just
the
I
red
figured I'd put the
seat.
bug in your ear.
See, it's the red seat.
Oh, see, I got some too. Beatrice is-
Ooh. Yeah, the red
Ah,
seat.
you're officially my adopted mama now. So
I'm
this will be-
all your mama. You are
Yeah,
all my
yeah.
children.
You're watch the warning, guys. This will be on Historically Haunted YouTube channel forever. In the archives, Beatrice will be on the archives forever. Check her out at a Paracon near you. Get your copy signed. Get a book. Get that signed. Go out there. Push for her to get her pops because this chick you're awesome. Check out her new movies. Follow her on Facebook. And yeah, thank you, Beatrice, for being on the Historically Haunted podcast.
Oh, one thing I did. You reminded me. The Dead Place. It's a movie I just filmed earlier this year. I have a really small. It's just a cameo. They flew me out to LA to do this cameo, directed by an amazing guy, Michael Pickle, and it's starring David Howard Thornton, that you guys might kind of know that name.
Terrifier, the clown.
The clown, yeah. But in this one, he speaks. His creepy character speaks, and the premise is the star of the show, this kid who's a fabulous actor, fabulous upcoming name to watch out, Idris Value. He it's about this character who can see, I see dead people. No, but he does. He sees dead people, and he doesn't like it. And that's all I'm going to tell you.
He's like you. I love it. You're staying active. You're a vintage. You know what I mean. But at the same time, you're still kicking it. You're still making. Wow, that's a great lineup. Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm friends with Michael Pickle on Facebook. And wow. Shit, we gotta go. You're gonna kick me out. Hey, to be continued because we need to have you back. You're fucking amazing. Thank you, Beatrice, for being you. Guys, check her out. Freddie's mama. You saw her here first. She released some good shit. You didn't watch it? Make sure you go watch the beginning of it.